Hi everyone, as you could see from the thumbnail, and if we're friends on Facebook, you know I am out enjoying my summer vacation. And it so happened I have a new temporary trusty assistant who is
Robin.
So in this video we will be sharing all what's been happening since we came out to London. So let's go. Hi, my name is Paula Simon, a believer who decided to make a 180 turn in my life. Right now, I'm trying to establish my new normal, and for the summer, I will be enjoying my new normal with one of my favorite persons in the world, my baby, Robin Allison. Guys, the flight was good. Although I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, I just can't say why. But it was good. JetBlue food was great. The person who was sitting next to me on both sides, Robin one side, and this other young man, he was so good. He kept his hand to himself, so he wasn't hugging the armrests and things like that. But it's when I landed, then we had an incident at the border. You see, I've been traveling around America with Robin for years. We never did an international flight, but we traveled. And nowhere in my head, I thought that I need to get some form of okay from her parents to say they authorizing me to bring her out to the country. So I landed at the border, went up to the immigration officer, and I said, oh, this is my granddaughter. He said, your granddaughter? Do you have permission to bring her out to the country? I said no. This time, he's looking at me, but his supervisor or some other senior person, she's like 3 feet or so behind him. She was giving me a once-over, and she was very intense. And at some time, she was like pretending she wasn't observing me, but I know she was. So he went in the whole thing. He asked me if I ever travel overseas with her, and I said no. All the time he's asking me these questions, he's going through her passport and my passport. So he asked, has she ever traveled overseas? I said no, but he's seen it in her passport and he's going through my passport. He said, anyway, who you could contact? I said, her mom is the person you might most likely able to get. He said, okay. How we get to, he said he got to talk to his supervisor. So he put me to sit down, and then he came back. While he went away to his supervisor, this woman was standing there observing me. Must be watching my body language to see if I'm very nervous or fidgety or anything. I didn't mind because I know I didn't have anything to hide. He came back and he said if he could get in contact with Kenya. I gave him her number, but he called and she didn't answer. I said perhaps if I call on my phone, he would. So we good. I called her through WhatsApp. She answered and I gave him the phone. He started talking to her and he walked back to his desk. But guys, while he was at the desk for like 3 or 4 minutes, I did not hear any talking on the phone, and he was out of view. And I could assure you, he was going through my phone. He maybe was checking my Facebook. He was checking my messages. He might have been checking my pictures, see if I Google anything, because there's what they do. He went through it. And then he came back and said, okay, he talked to Kenya, and he advised me to get her to send me like a letter of authorization, because I told him I will be traveling to other countries. Here what had me about this whole situation is that my new favorite program is watching this border control on a YouTube channel, be it Australia, sometimes the Canadian border control, the American and the Mexican. And about 3 weeks before I traveled, there was this man, I think it was in Australia, I was in London. He was going to Ghana, and he had this little boy with him. And right away, he did exactly what I did. He said the child is not his. I said, well, okay, it's my granddaughter. And they started asking him questions. And he said the child parent was out in the parking lot. They went and it confirmed that it's okay, he's supposed to take this child. I sat down and watched that show. And nowhere in my head I thought that it applied to me. So I spent 45 minutes at the airport. I didn't mind. You know why? Because I didn't have anything to hide. But imagine if it was a child that, you know, what's happening with children all over the world. They're being trafficked, they're being abused, they're being sold. They are doing a thorough search. So I was fine. Eventually he said, okay. He tell Kenya, since then, can you get an authorization or so forth to me? But by the time I reached to the hotel, the place was gray. I was sleepy, so I had a good rest. The next day I started moving around. I was able to reach up with my nieces and my great nieces, and you could say my nephew-in-law, which was fine. Robbie doing all the little tourist stuff by the wheel and the Big Ben and all of that good stuff on Trafalgar Square. So we are having a great time. Would you agree, Miss Petgrave, that we're having a good time?
Yes.
Okay. She have to agree and say yes, because who knows, to have the rest of the trip. So this is what we're doing for this week. Next week, I will be off to the next country. I will let you guys know about it. And we will be spending our time there. As you see from my last video, it wasn't nice. And I'm so glad that I got rid of all of that energy in order that I'm able to enjoy this one here. So I don't know what's your plans for the summer. But as I said, if you're not on a vacation, think about a vacation or start planning about a vacation.
Hawaii, Portugal.
Hawaii or Portugal? Okay. Probably give a suggestion. Hawaii or Portugal. I don't know. At least I went to one. The next one I never went to, which was Hawaii. Perhaps it might be on my calendar for our summer trip next year. So guys, that is it. I am having a great time. I will put in some of the pictures that we took, and I think I have two little videos. It's like 3 seconds or 4 seconds long. I will include it in it. And guys, have a great day. I am so grateful that God gave me this opportunity to spend this time with my little Robbie. So take care. Bye. Robbie, you saying bye?
Bye.